and welcome back to my channel. So I'm back with another bullet journaling video. Today I'm going to be going through how I do my budgeting and going through all of my previous budgeting spreads so you can see how I've done it before and how I've changed it, and then I'm going to be drawing out my budgeting spreads for this month coming. Apologies for my voice, I am actually really ill, which is why I've got a nice chai tea to soothe my throat. And here we go, here's the bunny. He's going to be visiting throughout as well. I loved how many comments there were on my last Plan With Me video about Maurice getting involved. I'm sure he'll make his way onto the table soon. Here we go. Straight for the tea. No, not for you. So this was the first budgeting spread I ever did. I had never really budgeted before. I was a very bad student and just wasn't aware of how much I was spending and where it was going or anything like that. I just totally played it by chance and then was really broke at the end of the month or at the end of student loans and couldn't figure out why. So I started to budget, which was definitely a good thing to do. But at first I had no idea how much I would need to put in each of how much I'd need to budget in each kind of category, because I didn't know how much I was spending. So for the first month I just tracked what I was spending, so I wrote down what I was spending and how much it cost, and as well as just totalling up how much I'd spent for that month, I also separated it out into some categories. So I had food shops, eating out, alcohol, exercise and treats. They were kind of the categories that I went with for what I was spending. So then once I'd split up how much I was actually spending in each of those areas, that then helped me to decide how much I needed to budget for each of those areas. And I also had this section for things that I was paying monthly, like subscriptions, like bills and my phone bill and stuff. Because again, that was something that I wasn't that aware of, like what I was subscribed to and what I actually needed. So I was able to kind of get rid of one of my monthly payments because I realised I just wasn't using it. So that was quite a good thing, to just be aware of what I was spending every month already. Moving on to the month after that, this is where I actually set myself targets in each of the areas. So in each kind of chunk I set out what the category was almost, and then how much I'd budgeted for each area. And my target for this month was to get out of my overdraft, so to not go into my overdraft by the end of the month, or by the end of, you know, before next payday. And I did that. I was very pleased. I did have to very much scrimp towards the end of the month, so you'll see this on some of them. There's like little notes and stuff and little parts where I've kind of re-budgeted or, you know, allocated some other things. That's just when it gets to the end of the month and I'm like running out of money or I've overspent or something like that, and I need to kind of rejig the budgeting. And then I always do a total amount that I budgeted for compared to the total amount that I spent. So moving on again, this was last month. This one is so full. Like I even had to kind of spill out onto a later page. So I've got some like budgeting part 2 here, where there just wasn't enough room in this budgeting spread for everything, and I massively overspent as well. Because I was out of my overdraft, I was like well pleased with myself, so kind of went a bit overboard and treated myself a lot. So I spent a lot more than I had budgeted for, but I also had a very busy month that month. It's a tricky one because you want to spend really as little as possible, but still enough so that you're able to treat yourself and enjoy your life to the full. So on months where I have less things on, that's when I can save a bit of money, whereas the months that have loads of events, or I'm seeing a lot of friends, or I've got trips and things, I don't want to scrimp and save on those months. So giving myself the flexibility to spend a bit more sometimes and spend a bit less sometimes as well. So that's kind of how my spreads have evolved so far. So I'm going to be setting out my spending page for this month coming. So what I do when I first want to start setting this up is that I total up everything that I've spent in every area. So I totaled up everything from this page and the kind of extra bits on the other page for each area, so I could see that, and then I totaled up how much I'd spent overall and compared that to the total amount that I budgeted. So then I can kind of see what I'm working with and see kind of the areas that I need to save a bit and the areas where I can be a bit more lax. For example, the exercise section. I was way under budget for this one, surprise, surprise. So then I take the amount of pay that I get. This does kind of change month to month a little bit, but I always get it on the same day, so I can kind of plan with that because I'm on a salary. So I take that amount of money and make sure that that's not accounting for my overdraft. So I did go a little bit into my overdraft this month by like, I think it was like £17 or something, so I took £17 off the amount that I had. So I was just working with the money that I actually had after paying off my overdraft. And I took off my subscriptions, which for this year with my current rent and everything is £512 and 8p. That is for my phone bill, council tax, my rent, my health insurance, my bills, what else do you pay? Yeah, that's everything. So that it's been the same consistently every month, so I'm not going to write that out again actually, because it's been the same for a couple of months in a row, so I'm just not going to bother writing that out again. So I take that amount once I have done that, and I take a little post-it note so that I'm not doing messy working in my bullet journal. And I tend to round things up as well, so instead of putting 512.8p, I just put 513, and then I know that, you know, all of those little rounding ups, they do make for like a little contingency. So then I know how much I have to play with for the month. So this month, as well as the kind of 5 categories that I've been using, I've also got to budget for Christmas, which is going to be very expensive. So I'm going to make a separate Christmas section for that as well. So then I just have a little think about how much I'm going to put in each area, how much I'm aiming to put into my savings. My target is generally £250 a month to put into savings. Did not achieve that last month, but hey, it's worth having targets still and kind of planning. So I'll take off £250 off that, and with that money that is left, I'll then split it up with the categories. So there we go, I've kind of worked through and made sure it all adds up a little bit under what the amount that I had to play with, just, you know, so I've got some contingency and kind of thinking ahead to what I've got coming up in the next month. So I might flip to my calendar for the month that I'm budgeting for and see kind of what I've got coming up. So I know I'm going to be away in Glasgow next weekend, and then we're going into December, so there's going to be Christmas parties and everyone wants to go for Christmas drinks. So I've, you know, upped the alcohol budget a little bit and the eating out budget, just because I know that that's going to be quite high. And then because I will be eating out a bit more, I will spend less on like food shops and things like that, so I've taken that one down a little bit. So you can see how I kind of play with it to kind of make it fit for the current month. So then I will go to my spending page with my nice starry sky header, which I did in my last plan with me video, and I will start writing these out and trying to make it fit on a double page spread. That is one thing I'm definitely going to do this time to make it fit so I don't have to overlap, is that when I've done, when I've bought several things in one day, I'm just going to lump it together into one line so that I'm not, you know, having loads and loads of smaller things on here, just like one big thing. And I've decided I really wanted to simplify the design a little bit as well, so I'm going to do that. And just to make it pretty, I like to make sure it kind of fits in with the theme of my month. So when this little bunny moves his butt, I will show you what columns I have. I've got the 6 different sections this time without the subscriptions bit, because that's the same every month. And then in each one I've got the date, what it is, how much, and a cumulative total, just so it makes it easier to see whether I'm, you know, overspending in that area or not. My god, bunny, stop, you're so obsessed with tea. So yeah, then I just write down everything that I bought in each section and add it up as I go along so that I can hopefully see. Oh, one thing I did forget to add right at the bottom is total budgeted for, and then a space for my total spent to be at the bottom. So how much I put into savings that month. Although I do also have a savings tracker, which I showed in my last plan with me, which is like where things will tot up on this chart so that I can see how much I'm saving. But it's useful to see in each tracker as well how much I'm saving. And the things that will fit into each of the categories, so essentials is like food shopping, Maurice's hay and treat and like his toys and stuff, that's pretty essential. You know, toiletries, things like that. Eating out is obviously eating out, but that includes things like buying a chocolate from the shop during work, and you know, if I get a hot drink out or something, if I buy a cup of tea while I'm at work or something, everything's included in that. Alcohol is alcohol, but includes drinking out and stuff. You know, if I buy a bottle of wine with my food shop and stuff. Exercise is any exercise classes that I go to, so that's usually yoga, which is £2 a class, and pole fitness, which is £7 a class for one I go to, and £2 a class for another one that I go to, so depends which one I go to. Christmas is just going to be all the Christmas presents that I need to get, and you know, put them all in there. And then treats is kind of anything that doesn't fit into any of the categories, so that includes like Ubers, you know, because I don't need to get an Uber anywhere. You know, if I buy some clothes or something, if I buy a treat for me, then that goes in there. And that is the biggest section because that is my favourite section. So that is everything. I hope that was clear, although I did have a bunny hopping across the whole time while I was trying to draw that out. I do really like how this page looks compared to the previous ones. To be fair, I always like how they look when they're empty, and then as soon as I start filling them up, they get so messy that it's hard to kind of see what's what. So hopefully I'll keep this one nice and tidy and keep to budget. That is my plan for the month. Keep to budget. Let me know if you have any different ways of tracking your budgeting and your spending in your bullet journals. I love to watch other people's bullet journal videos, so comment your links if you've made something like this or showed how you do budgeting. And I'm always up for trying new ways of doing things as well, so this is just the way that I do it. This might be like a totally stupid way of doing it, and I'm definitely, you know, excited to see other people's suggestions and, you know, incorporate their ideas into how I do things as well. So let me know if you do a different way or if you found this useful, because I didn't know what I was doing when I started doing budgeting. I was just I watched a couple of videos on, you know, this kind of video, and I found them really helpful, and then I kind of put my own twist on it, so this is my own twist. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. I need to go and have a lie down because I'm so ill, and I will see you in my next video, which will be a vlog of my trip to Glasgow this weekend. So I will see you then. Bye! And bye from Maurice, who's like drinking his water bottle in the noisiest possible way, just off shot. So incredibly cute, but so incredibly noisy. I've been off work for a couple of days, so I've been spoiling him with attention and letting him out of his cage all day, every day. So I've probably spoiled him rotten, and now as soon as I'm not paying attention to him, he's like, give me attention! I'm gonna come and drink your tea and sit on your bullet journal.